Most of you all have heard me speak before already about the business, what we do, kind of what motivates us to do what we do and such. But I was going to give basically the same presentation today, but I realized that this is actually my last one doing a 10-minute as president, so I thought I'd tie that into it a little bit as well at the end. But Alender Insurance Agency, you guys see me or hear me say relate, educate, innovate quite a bit. That's essentially how we want to operate. We want to relate to our customers. And I've repeated this a lot, but I think it's important because it is important to have a good relationship with them, understand who they are, what they need. Sometimes having a good relationship with the client is the difference between writing a policy a little bit more specific to their need versus just kind of writing a slightly more generic one, and we value that. And through getting to know them, we then know what they need to learn more. Sometimes they'll be like, I don't want to do that. It's important to educate them and let them know why maybe they need to do that. And through it all, be innovative and make a nice package for them, something that makes them feel whole and secure. But our mission statement, I don't think I've hit on this for a little bit with our mission statement, but I'll go ahead and read it. At Alender Insurance Agency, our mission is to make a meaningful impact on our community and those we serve. We go beyond simply providing insurance. We educate our clients to ensure they fully understand how their coverage works. By empowering our clients with knowledge, we build trust and long-term relationships rooted in competence and transparency. Every policy we offer is tailored to meet the unique needs of each individual because no two situations are ever the same. And that last sentence is kind of my favorite part. No two individuals or situations are ever the same. But this is essentially who we are. We have my dad, who is with us here today, and myself. Dorothy, she is primarily at our Hamel office, and same goes for Autumn as well. But if you call in our Staunton office, you'll probably get Donna to pick up the phone. But yeah, this is essentially our team. We work very well together, and like I said, if you call, you'll probably get Donna, or if you call Hamel, Autumn, or Dorothy. And one thing I really like about our two offices is that they kind of hit two different demographics. When we acquired the Hamel agency and such, there were a lot of people and a lot of policy types that were a little bit different than what we were used to writing up in Staunton and such, but we have a good market anywhere from really just the simple home and auto to even a farm policy or a farmette, even if somebody lives on not as much land as a traditional farm but still has farm characteristics. So there's a lot that we have availability to write there, and we work very well as a team. And we really take that into account in our hiring process because we know that that's very important for us to kind of act as a family. But I was curious, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to speak on from a little bit of an education standpoint with insurance, because I always try to hit on that a little bit. And I thought this time I'd just kind of give a little bit of a basic overview with maybe some examples. And I think that the most important question in what we do is, what do we need to cover? There can be a house that has belongings there that maybe the person doesn't know that, oh, that's not covered the way that you might think it is. Or perhaps you are going out to do an activity with some friends and you think that you have coverage there if something happens. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. But auto, you want to make sure that they're all covered the right way. Are all your autos kept at your house? Are they not? Who drives them? Homeowners, what type of risks are there where you live? Are there maybe things you could do to mitigate damage from happening or prevent a claim from needing to be filed? Renters and landlord, that might be a relationship that people kind of look at in a similar fashion, but they are two very different policies. Umbrella, that just kind of is an overarching liability policy for yourself. And then toys, motorcycle, boat, ATV, they are similar in how you might just want to insure them for liability and the physical damage, but they also have different risks at play and different types of claims that might arise that you need to have awareness for. And then I referenced farm. And then I also always want to hit on personal property and such. If you have high value items like collector's items, rings, furs, guns, really whatever you might think of individual high value items, sometimes there's a limit to how those are covered necessarily on your policy. And they need to be listed individually. So we kind of have these conversations with people, and we want to make sure that they understand there's risks at play that they might not know about. And ultimately, by the time we're done with that conversation, hopefully there's no more of those holes open. But this kind of relates really to the previous slide. Why do we have claims? The claims could happen from a variety of reasons: fire, windstorm, flood. I'll just read them off: earthquake, hail, a car collision, accidents, theft, falling objects, water damage, power surges, freeze damage. Like, for example, if you write just a simple basic dwelling policy on, say, a rental property you owned, do you know that everything is covered under that, or is it just a basic fire policy? There might be a hole there against theft if you don't have vandalism coverage on there. So there's many things that people need to make sure that they do have based on the specific risk that they are facing. But like I said, I was really just wanting to give a general overview. We have whenever we meet with our clients, we essentially want to understand who they are, what they do, and what potential perils could affect them and ultimately turn into a claim. And we work with them on that so that way they know what the proper steps would be to protect themselves. Sometimes people choose to accept the risk, and maybe there's something that they don't use very much. Like, let's say that there's a car that they've had for a while and it's been sitting in their driveway or perhaps their garage. They don't need liability coverage on it because they're not going to drive it, so they drop it down to comprehensive only. That way, if maybe a tree, what's a scenario? Let's say a tree falls on the garage and the roof comes in and then it gets damaged. I mean, there could be a variety of things that might happen. People think, oh, I don't use that, I don't need to cover it. Well, you might if something happens, because it's not like it'll be covered under your homeowner's policy just because it's in your home. So there's things, and I say that with a little bit of a chuckle, because there's things that we might think that are obvious that are not obvious to everyone. And no question is a bad question. Every question is a good question so long as you then know the answer afterwards. So we really stress that with people, and that's where that educate part of our tagline comes in. But oh, I forgot I had this on here. Our logos, I had to search a little bit to find this. This was our original logo that I came up with whenever we first started back in 2019. I definitely could have done better, and that's why we ultimately came up with this one. But the point of that, I'm like, okay, I need to have a reason if we're going to have some sort of logo like emblem. And the point was, there's the policy and there's the shield that the policy gives you. So I thought that was kind of cool. But as we did more branding and stuff, this ended up being better, which ultimately led to the tagline being created. But yeah, that's kind of a rundown of who we are, what we do, and what motivates us. But I thought I'd throw something a little bit comical in here that we haven't seen for a bit. Some of us have not seen this photo, but in honor of me leaving in a bit, or not leaving, but stepping down from being president, I thought we'd remind us all of this photo. So yes, no, but I threw this on here kind of just as a conversation shift. But no, genuinely, I do thank you guys for supporting me while I've been president and such. It's been fun. When I first took it on, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. It was both harder and easier than I expected, depending on what angle we looked at it. But no, I have enjoyed it. I think it's been fun. But yeah, I thank you guys for the support, and I also am thankful for the growth. The growth wouldn't have happened had you guys not participated and worked alongside with everyone. I was going to say with me, but it was more than just working along with me. You guys worked together. But yeah, so with that, I guess any questions, or I don't know how much time I have left. Probably a minute and a half. Hey, there we go. You got a minute and a half. I'm sorry, I saw Ben first.
So I have my stuff bundled through State Farm because I can still hide under my parents' address because I live in the city, so it's much cheaper for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to preface by saying that, and then apologize for not going to you first when I got the lady's ring appraised and insured on that front. But out of curiosity, I was wondering, because obviously you can see and have an inspection for home damage, life insurance, that's obvious, but what's to say I don't take it off the nightstand, go to the pawn shop, and then go say, hey, the ring was lost, it's in the bottom of an ocean?
I mean, that's a valid question, and well, I mean, there is a level of trust to it. You have to answer questions though, and I mean, ultimately you would have to lie. Right. But I mean, you'd have a no. I mean, it's. It's a fair question. I mean, yeah, people could lie and people could turn it in, and there's been instances where it's raised a question in our head, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to say that person's not telling the truth. Right. But you are at the same time going to be hurt because you have you'll have that claim on your record of. I mean, it shows a characteristic of not being responsible with your high value items. And now I won't say that necessarily that will make you not be eligible for a policy in the future, but I mean, you will have a singular high value personal articles claim on your record for anywhere from really, what would you say, 5 to 7 years? Yeah.
So that rate, if I were to reinsure it or another high value item, would likely be higher because of the responsibility that here?
There would be a bit of a rate penalty taken into account. But also, I mean, sometimes there's cases where people can eventually get declined on claim count rather than just claim amount payout. So, I mean, let's say that, yes, let's say you were successful with that.
Yeah.
If you then had maybe a couple other real claims that you needed to turn in, then, I mean, those things could eventually add up and kind of hurt you. So, I mean, that's really the same question as anyone saying, like, can I turn in a claim and try and, you know, falsely benefit from it? Anytime you do that, you have that risk.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that really answered it directly,
No,
but.
perfect. I took way too long on that.
No, you're fine. But what was that?
Yeah, so my friend was telling me that, I think it was his mom, had their basement flood, and they thought that the basement was covered under their home insurance policy.
I can answer that question. It's not.
Okay.
So I'll be.
As Sam will know.
I can be brief with that one. So basically, if the water's coming in your basement, it's primarily one of two sources. It's water backup or it's flooding in. Flood insurance is actually separate than homeowners insurance. And water backup coverage is not default on a homeowner's policy. That's something that you add. And so if you there's a lot of people that unfortunately find out about that. I mean, even if your basement isn't finished, since you keep like a water heater or a furnace down there, I usually say, hey, you probably should at least have maybe $10,000 of coverage on there, because, I mean, otherwise you're going to be paying out of pocket. But yeah, that's something that it's not too uncommon to discover that the hard way, unfortunately. But anyway, I know my time's up. Oh, okay, Wendy.
I want to say thank you for doing such an excellent job as president.
Well, thank you.
You've been-
Should I bow? No, well, thank you, Wendy. I appreciate it.